Hi, welcome back to my garden. Yesterday I found myself watching one of those videos, nostalgic dive into past rock videos with sort of best 5 songs according to the gentleman presenting the video. And one of his choices definitely would be on my list, Hotel California by the Eagles. I mean, it is a classic. Brilliant music, fascinating lyrics, and of course benefited from not just being a great song when it was released, but then having that wonderful acoustic makeover sort of 15 years later, whenever it was. It is a great song. And today I'd like to talk about one of the lyrics which I've sort of borrowed for my own dubious purposes. And of course the song, that's quite fitting to shape the song or twist it to whatever message you want to deliver, because I kind of remember that's what happened when I first got into it, back in, I suppose, my early high school days. And the world seemed to have been gripped by a frenzy of unearthing a string of, covert lures into the dreaded world of Satanism. Or so we were led to believe. And Hotel California was Exhibit A. And there was a line in the song, "You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. There's one with a steely knife, but we just can't kill the beast." I can't remember. I should have looked up the lyrics, but listen to the song. It's worth a re-listen, and the lyrics are great. And if you don't fancy listening to the song, well, research the lyrics yourself. But that one where you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave, well, it's the line before that I focused on. And actually, I did a bit of research on what the Eagles intended when they wrote the song all those years ago. And really, it was about the dangers of, I guess, hedonism and Hollywood. And the threat that posed. And when you look at it through that lens, it makes a lot of sense. The line that I was thinking about when I was watching the video, and I sort of found, how can I put it, sort of inevitably being rewritten in my head for this video, was something like, "You are programmed to receive. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. We are programmed to receive." Something like that. And I kind of thought, well, just change a word or two. We are programmed to consume. And it really is fitting with the song, actually. I mean, it wouldn't scan as well, and perhaps wouldn't mean quite the same, but it isn't a million miles away from, I suppose, the sort of stuff the Eagles were talking about. Sorry about that. Horsefly on my leg. Back to the video. And I think trying to bring this unwieldy video back into line and answering the question that I've been posing over the last few videos, why we aren't doing the things we want to do, well, I think, as a simple answer, we have been programmed to consume. And that's not just consuming things that are mentioned in the Eagles song, like Mercedes-Benzes and pink champagne, although those are both rather nice. Well, I'm not sure about the pink champagne, but a Mercedes-Benz is a beautiful car. Who wouldn't want one? But I do think that the world went from making nice things and some people having them, perhaps one could question how well they were distributed, to slowly consuming for consuming's sake. And when did that happen? I guess it happened around about the 1950s. And I don't want to suggest that this was some kind of nefarious conspiracy. Maybe it was. There's some evidence to suggest it certainly was a conscious idea of economic thinkers in the 1950s in the United States, that they needed to boost consumption, an economic model that would overcome the deprivation and austerity of the war years and the 40s in general, the post-war years. And so consuming at that point, well, it made a lot of sense. It got the cogs of the economy whirring again, and that's a good thing, isn't it? Except it's a good thing until it isn't. And this sort of consumption for consumption's sake became an end in itself. And before long, we had an interesting new twist on the idea, built-in obsolescence. This thought that instead of making wonderful things that would last a lifetime and beyond, I mean, we value antiques because on some level, antique furniture or ancient Persian rugs, because they have lasted hundreds and hundreds of years and are as good or better than the day they were made. And as fantastic as our new refrigerator might be, frost-free and all the rest with interesting circuitry and programming, the fact is that it seems to last, certainly things like fridges and washing machines, 8 years tops. And then you're lucky if, certainly where I live, you're lucky if you get much more than that. And that's not a good thing, this idea of producing stuff that will just break down. Only the 21st century has moved that on to a faster cycle, and rather than being tangible goods and things, services, it's become the intangible. So what we are programmed to consume is not stuff that we're buying. Well, we are being programmed to do that, but it's also the stuff that we're watching or listening to. And that cycles around at an ever faster rate. Now, are we being programmed according to a sort of evil man at the top of a tower, world domination? Actually, I think to a degree, yes, but that is up for grabs. I would like to think that perhaps it's simply that people are greedy, and wherever one can make a buck, someone will find a way of making two and more, and then cornering the market. And if we produce more and more stuff, and that was true in terms of physical production, but given the infinity of possibilities that I guess the virtual world makes available, well, we need to, if we're producing all this stuff, consume it at an ever faster and faster rate. And there we are, little hamsters on the wheel. Now, what's the problem? And I come back to this story, this theme, idea from time to time. If you've watched all my videos, you might be rolling your eyebrows. But where is the problem? Well, I'm going to call on another song to sort of answer that question. And this time, rather than the pseudo satanic lyrics of the Eagles, or the very opaque sort of lyrics, open to interpretation lyrics, I'm going to choose on a song by a band that was a little more upfront and tell it like it is. You know, there's no way you're going to get this wrong. Although, in fact, I think people really do. And that's one of my favourite heavy rock bands, really the inventors of the genre of heavy metal, one might say Black Sabbath. And on their album Heaven and Hell, right, so no prizes for what they're talking about there, although I don't think they were Satanists, ladies and gentlemen. I think they liked horror movies. I think they wanted to shock. So no, I don't think they were Satanists. But on the song Heaven and Hell, there's that fantastic lyric, mentioned it in these videos before. The world is full of kings and queens. I think something like that. The world is full of kings and queens. They blind your eyes and steal your dreams. Something along those lines. And I think that is kind of what's happening. Is it deliberate? Are Facebook and Instagram and all the rest of them trying to stop you living the life you should? I don't think so, actually. I don't think they care, frankly, one way or another. They would be delighted if you could live the life of your dreams and just consume ever more of their product. Of course, the problem is it's perhaps a mutually exclusive thing. The more you tune in, the more you doom scroll, the more you go down rabbit holes, the more you are numbed by meaningless content, the less you do what you need to do to actually follow your dreams in the here and now, for real. And in that way, maybe it's not their intention, but they do indeed steal your dreams. And I think we have been programmed. I think when we ask the question and then blame ourselves, why do I procrastinate so much? Why don't I just do what I know I'm meant to do? And it's incredible. If you do find yourself asking yourself that question, notice how often you, having just asked it, click and watch the next version of a video that will distract you from the discomfort, I don't want to call it pain, that is the thought that you're reflecting upon. So it's really at the very heart of why we're not becoming the person that we could, should, were supposed to, think of it as how you will, but the person we were meant to be, let's call it that. And it's a real, real problem. And of course, if we all avoided that sort of consumerist philosophy, if we just bought and consumed what we needed, well, the world would be a better place. We would be better off. But this small cabal of Illuminati, no, I'm just saying that ironically, sarcastically, but this small group of people that, for want of a better term, the billionaire class, well, they would be much worse off because their fortunes are made by our weakness for what they are peddling. I'm sorry to put it bluntly. And of course, I'm not suggesting that you should never watch YouTube any more than if you met a hungry person, you fed them, and then you fed them some more, and then you fed them some more, and then you gave them a slice of cake, and then you put the whole cake in front of them, at a certain point, the law of diminishing marginal returns has kicked in and flipped over, and they are slowly dying. So overconsumption, folks, it's not a good thing. And it is robbing us of the future that could be ours. Hope that isn't overstating the case. Let me know if you think I did. Otherwise, I trust your lives are filled with joy. And until the next video, it's ciao from a sunny Brazil.